Welcome to Private Members Business, where the opposition steps up with fresh ideas and bold motion.
Move. So, Margaret. Donnchadh, I start by reflecting on the events of the past 24 hours. President Trump effectively endorsing the erasure of Gaza, the displacement of the Palestinian people living there, contrary to all international law, but also to any sense of what is right and wrong, what is sensible and workable, or what is acceptable. After all the bombing, death, destruction and devastation the people of Gaza have faced in the last year and a half, we finally saw a ceasefire and the release of hostages on both sides. Some relief and some respite after carnage and misery. Now given way to worry at what President Trump and Netanyahu by his side intend to do. The Donnchadh earlier today said that he intends to adopt an approach of responding to the actions of the US administration rather than its words. So be it. However, if we have learned anything in politics in recent years, is that no matter how outlandish a prospect something may seem, it cannot be ruled out. What President Trump proposed is utterly unacceptable and treats the Palestinian people as pieces on a board rather than a people living their homeland and as their right. And I urge the Taoiseach not only to make a strong statement himself, but to seek a strong EU statement in opposition to any such proposal and pushing for a recommittal to a two-state solution by the United States. I'd also make the point that the ceasefire, such as it is fragile. We've seen breaches in Gaza and most particularly in the West Bank. In the past, Israel has acted with impunity due to the international community, or too much of it, looking the other way. That is why this bill, the Occupied Territories Bill, matters, because it's about applying international law. This is about the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, judgment and nothing less. It is long past time for the government to commit, finally and at last, to enacting the Occupied Territories Bill. The government, or constituent parts of it, have already committed to this numerous times, over 6 or 7 years at this stage. Now, of all times, when the very existence of the state of Palestine is being questioned, is not the time to walk away from it. Now is the time for government to put their money where their mouth is. Sometimes, on some occasions, commitments were made by government deputies quite robustly. To those who have tried to dissuade us from supporting this bill and say it is not the time for such a bill, I say, if now is not the time to act, when will that time come? Those are words of Deputy Niall Collins on the 23rd of January 2019. The time is waiting is over now. The time waiting for a pan-European approach is over at this stage. Darragh O'Brien, TD, and now Minister Darragh O'Brien, in the same debate. The 2020 Fianna Fáil manifesto contained a commitment to progress the Occupied Territory Bill. Fine Gael, for their part, have long committed to this, including during the recent general election, as have you, yourself personally, Donnchadh. If anything, the case has grown stronger over the years as the International Court of Justice decision came forth. But in truth, whether sincerely or because of lip service, we have seen that all that we have seen in the last 6 or 7 years is excuses. They have varied over time. It's not the right time. We don't have enough time. And then when time is offered, it wasn't taken up. Or there wasn't a shortage of time after all, but of technical issues. And now, since the formation of this government, we have seen the walk back and the walking away. A mounting list of government sources indicate a new bill, and one with not just technical but fundamental differences with the Occupied Territories Bill. The bill, unless government changes policy, is being dropped. That's why, despite some of the high-minded pros, we cannot accept the government amendment. It's clear, it is crystal clear now, that they do not wish to progress the Occupied Territories Bill, and that a ban on profiting from services in occupied territories will be dropped. The simple crux of the matter here is that illegal settlements are wrong and abhorrent, and profiting from them is wrong and abhorrent. The people of Ireland recognise this, and they want action. To some, the distinction between goods and services might seem technical, but it is not. It is fundamentally undermining the International Court of Justice decision. They did not make fish of one and fowl of the other. This is not the 1930s. We're not talking about a world where trade is dominated by coal and steel and cotton and so on. About 70% of our own trade is in services. If the government intends to exclude services, then they will be saying that it is acceptable for companies to profit from businesses in financial services, call centres and other businesses not trading in goods. If we believe that occupation is wrong, surely then that profiting from them is also wrong. The people of Ireland want to see a legislative ban in line with the opinion of the ICJ. Indeed, your current position, Donnchadh, is walking away from past government policy. When sanctions were put in place on Russia, the government correctly did not make any distinction between services and goods. The inconsistency here is remarkable. The government will try to pretend that there's nothing to see here. They will point to past actions that they have taken. I will point out, often under public and opposition pressure, but nonetheless actions we welcomed. The recognition of the Palestinian state was itself significant to a large extent because it made it clear that occupation was wrong and illegal. But on this issue, you cannot pull the wool over people's eyes. If we wish to see a two-state solution and sustainable peace, we must see international law respected. If we wish to see international law respected, then illegal occupations must be unacceptable. And if illegal occupations are unacceptable, then how can we allow services to be traded and companies profit by trade of services with Ireland without any sanction, without any disincentive? It is an absurd suggestion. And I note the motion by the government, and it references one of the bill's sponsors, Frances Black. I spoke to Frances Black earlier. She made it very clear that she did not stand for any watering down or any distinction between goods and services. Indeed, she is waiting for a meeting from the government for some time, since January, I believe, that has been requested. The very existence of the Palestinian state has been brought into question in the last 24 hours. Now, above all, is the time to stand with them. If the government is going to be consistent with their past positions, there needs to be an absolute ban on trade with the occupied territories, and the bill needs to be progressed. The Occupied Territories Bill needs to be progressed, not dropping the bill, not going for a new bill, not dropping a ban on services. We will gladly deal with debates on technical issues at committee stage, but this bill has been before the Houses for 6 or 7 years now. We cannot allow more excuses and prevarication. It has to be done right, but dropping the bill and dropping the ban on services is not only morally wrong, it is contrary to the International Court of Justice decision and would be incompatible with that decision.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.